We commonly talk about our five senses, those of smell, sound, touch, taste, and sight. But neuroscientists have a different take on the matter, cataloging a dozen or more senses we all experience on a day-to-day basis. One of these is thermoception, our sense of temperature, which operates on two levels. Externally, our skin can detect hot and cold, making us sweat to cool down or shiver to warm up. But our internal bodies also have temperature detection built in. Remember the last time you jumped into a freezing cold swimming pool that took your breath away, but found yourself swimming comfortably after a few minutes? This shift occurs because our internal systems recognize the sudden temperature change and warm up our body to keep us safe in extreme conditions, expending calories in the process. Another of our senses is nociception, our sense of pain. Nociception is extremely smart and can trigger a number of different body responses based on the type of pain we experience. Put your hand into a fire, and the sudden intense pain will cause not only a reflex muscular retraction, forcing your hand away from the flames, but also a reflex yelp, notifying the people around you that you have come to harm, bringing them quickly to your aid. Sometimes nociception will just numb the pain after a few seconds, like when we stub our toe on the thing we wish we had seen. If the injury is more serious, as with a wound, it can initiate the immune response, protecting the area from bacterial infection and heating the tissue to promote healing. Another of our senses, the oddly named proprioception, gives us a constant underlying awareness of where the pieces of our body are situated in space. Even with our eyes closed, we are able to grab our left wrist with our right hand. We just somehow know where to find it. Proprioception is a useful survival sense, helping us to run away from a rampaging saber-toothed tiger without the inconvenience of having to check that our feet are doing what they're supposed to. Another of our senses, equilibrioception, our sense of balance, kicks in when we start to fall. The sudden change of direction causes liquid in the inner ear canal to slosh against tiny hair follicles, bending them and triggering an alert to the brain, sending reflex signals to the right muscles to help us instantly right our position. Feeling thirsty? Our brain has stretch receptors that shrink as we become dehydrated, triggering thirst. When we rehydrate, the receptors are saturated, stretching out, and our thirst sense leaves us until the receptors are deprived of liquid sustenance, shrinking again, repeating the cycle. Over the last few years, neuroscientists have been learning a great deal about our senses. Not only are our senses more numerous than previously thought, but they produce interesting effects when they work together. When a commercial airplane starts its ascent, the passengers on board will have a real sense that they can see the aisle rising in front of them. But if one of the passengers has an action camera strapped to their forehead, the camera will register no slope at all. This false visual slant is created by our inner ear and our sight working together, changing our perspective, providing us with added useful sense information. And our sense of sight has another trick up its sleeve. Our eyes have specialized motion detection cells that can trigger our innate fear sense, helping us to spring into action in response to an incoming threat. But this motion sense can misdirect us. We've all had moments when an unseen friend appears suddenly alongside us, causing us to scream in their direction, followed by the inevitable embarrassed laughter once we realize our mistake. While our species has a bewildering array of senses working to keep us alive, is it possible we might be able to add new ones? Back in 2004, Udo Wächter, a German administrator at the University of Osnabrück, constructed a belt circled with 13 vibrating pads that used similar technology to the vibration tech in our smartphones. In whichever direction Udo was oriented, the pad facing magnetically north would buzz continuously. During the 6-week experiment, Udo said that when wearing the belt, especially while cycling around, he had an acutely enhanced awareness of where things were located around him. He found he could build a perfect mental map of the twists and turns of the roads he traveled on. And he could always point toward his home, even when his home was far away and not toward the north. At this time, the question of how many senses we really have is wide open, with some scientists proposing as many as 53 that should be studied. What do you think our true senses are? How about the sense of the passing of time? What about intuition? Is it real? Do you have an intuitive sixth sense you regularly rely on? Let us know in the comments. And if you like content by the Unraveled channel, leave us a like and click the subscribe button to be notified when new content is available.